Well, another government agency has admitted the obvious that the most likely origin of the COVID 19 virus was that it was made in a lab in Wuhan, China, and then just accidentally leaked out. Of course, you can usually tell what the truth is by what the big tech social media platforms are censoring. You may recall that as soon as the pandemic started in 2020, you weren't allowed to post that on Facebook or Twitter or say it on YouTube because that was considered to be a dangerous conspiracy theory. Another conspiracy theory that turned out to be a fact. So let's take a quick stroll down memory lane to see how the fake news industrial complex treated that fact. Like this article from Vice News, which claimed that Trump's Wuhan lab coronavirus conspiracy theory is bogus, according to everyone. Vice News, by the way, is on the verge of bankruptcy again. And so some leftist activist billionaire gave them another $30 million to keep their operating costs up so they can keep polluting the internet with their fake news. This on top of the $250 million that they were given from, seriously, George Soros just a couple years ago in 2019, because it's such a garbage news outlet that it can't turn a profit. And so the way that these businesses operate, they're actually nonprofits, obviously, is people just give them money to continue to produce their fake news. And the New York Times, another fake news outlet, had a reporter say that someday we will stop talking about the lab leak theory and maybe even admit its racist roots. But alas, that day is not here yet. And it wasn't just the fake news industrial complex. It was also the Hollywood propagandists who were continuing to reinforce this fake news. People like Jimmy Kimmel.
Also pushing U.S. intelligence to find evidence.
He's talking about Donald Trump, by the way.
Theory that the virus was accidentally released from a lab in Wuhan. That's his new angle to feed the wingnuts, to treat this virus like it was a conspiracy of some kind.
Well, it turns out that it was a conspiracy fact. And so I'm releasing my new Conspiracy Theorists Were Right shirt, which you should order from marktest.com or click the link in the description below. And yes, that is a nice big Illuminati all-seeing eye there. Speaking of conspiracy facts, you can check out my book, Inside the Illuminati, Evidence, Objectives, and Methods of Operation, if you are a reader. Interestingly, though, it was a former comedian, Jon Stewart, who's now a liberal podcaster, who broke the ice and made it okay for people to talk about the conspiracy fact regarding the origin of the COVID-19 virus.
The disease is the same name as the lab. That's just a little too weird, don't you think? And then they ask the scientists, they're like, how did this... So wait a minute, you work at the Wuhan respiratory coronavirus lab. How did this happen? And they're like, a pangolin kissed a turtle? And you're like, no, the name of your lab, if you look at the name.
The official story was so absurd that he just couldn't take it anymore. Of course, CNN is always on the forefront of fake news. Here's what they had to say.
And then there's this theory, widely debunked. This paper from 2 Chinese researchers that says it is plausible that the virus leaked accidentally from one of 2 labs near the Wuhan seafood market. After an uproar and heated denials by the Chinese government, one of the authors told the Wall Street Journal the paper had been withdrawn because it was not supported by direct proofs.
Well, if you can't trust the communist Chinese government to tell you the truth, who can you trust? Maybe MSNBC?
Those same agencies now have been tapped with investigating one of Trump world's most favorite conspiracy theories. New York Times reports this, quote, senior Trump administration officials have pushed American spy agencies to hunt for evidence to support an unsubstantiated theory that a government lab in Wuhan, China was the origin of the coronavirus outbreak. That's according to current and former American officials.
Of course, if Donald Trump said that it was just a natural occurrence, then they would have claimed that it was a cover-up and a conspiracy and man-made and demanded that it be investigated and would have claimed that he was the one trying to hide the truth. But looking back on the craziness from city officials filling an outdoor skate park full of sand to prevent kids from using it during the lockdowns, to Schools forcing banned students to practice in tents. Some liberals are starting to regret the insanity that they forced upon society. This is from the New York Times just last week. The mask mandates did nothing. Will any lessons be learned? Well, we certainly hope so. So, to celebrate, order my new Conspiracy Theorists Were Right shirt from my online store at markdice.com, or click the link in the description below. Like all of my designs, it's available in a t-shirt, long sleeve, and a hoodie, and a whole bunch of different colors as well. So head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below and check them out.